This is my Jaju Casimir Brodak. He was born in 1937 in Szwajcaria, Poland. When he was 7 years old, his family was taken to a concentration camp. Him and his family worked on a farm, which essentially saved their lives. They then moved from camp to camp, from Neumark to Bremen, Germany. Sadly, he lost his father at a very young age, and then it was just his mother with 6 kids traveling to Detroit. Here is his story.
So we came to America on a troop carrier, merchant marine troop carrier. The name of the ship was General Greeley, I believe. It was a green steel ship that brought troops to Europe and refugees to United States. We were leaving in November. In November, December, the ocean is very, very rough. I think it took us anywhere from 9 to 11 or some days on the ship. And on the ship, we had we couldn't come from Bremen. We had to go to Bremerhaven because the water was shallow in Bremen. We came across the Atlantic on that ship, and of course, on the ship, they separated the boys from their parents, from their mothers. I was 14, so I had to go with the men, single little guy myself. And on the ship, I had all the permissions, or all the different cards from my sisters and my mom, and I could go over there and pick up oranges or pick up whatever was picked up by hand, and I put in my pocket and sneaked it over to them. And of course, they gave us some nickels so we could buy Coca-Cola for a nickel. So I took some, and that's what they survived on for all that trip. They were turning blue from the rocking of the ship. When we ended up in New York, Ellis Island, we had to go again through the authorities, and some people were turned away, crying and screaming, but they took us and put us on a train in New York, and we came to Detroit. Detroit, they picked us up at the railroad station. A lady came in a station wagon, one of those, I forget, Willis or whatever it was them Woodies, one of them Woodies. And they brought us on Canfield and St. Alban to St. Alberta's School. It was called the Displaced Person Shelter. The upstairs, there was no longer occupied by students, so they had classes, and across the street was the Felician Academy. That's where we used to go to eat with novices over there and every teachers, etc. We stayed in that place for 6 months. Nobody would give us rent. As a matter of fact, the guy that signed for our papers, we went to his house and tried to thank him. He shut the door in front of our face. He didn't want to be known that he did this. But anyways, to make the story short, we kept, eventually we got rent. I went to school at St. Alberta's. Because I came in December, so they tried to put me in the 8th grade, but I didn't speak any English, so they put me in 7A. And then next year, 7A, then 8th grade, I finished 8th grade. And in the meantime, I wanted to go to Wilbur Wright in the worst way. I wanted to be a tool and die maker. So I finished St. Alberta's, went 1 year to St. Joseph's, and I finally ended up at Wilbur Wright. Wilbur Wright was a vocational high school where you went 6 weeks academic class, you took all what's required, in 6 weeks of training. I took the manufacturing, And of course, you could get a job once you got to be real good in your studies. You could get a job, but I wasn't that familiar. But I was already older. I had a part-time job. I was working after school. But as I was riding on the bus, crosstown bus, I used to stop over at this bus would stop on Forest and Orleans, and through the window I could see they had same kind of machines like we had in school. So I went to the boss and went in there and asked if they hiring. First they told me no, kept asking if I could come back again. They said, yeah, come back. You can come back, we're not hiring. And finally, I guess the boss or whoever the owner was over there got tired or said, this kid's persistent. So he says, when can you start? I told him, whenever you want me to start. So from then on, I had a job for life, I guess, with that company.
And then you were 18 and you got drafted?
No, I was 20. I was graduated from high school, I was 20. And as a matter of fact, my classmates saying to me, what are you, Casimir, what are you doing? What are you doing after graduation? See, at Wilbur Wright, we finished in July. July 15th, I believe, was our last day because of the going to school and going to work. So I says, no, I got greetings from Uncle Sam. So July 15th, I graduated or so. August 2nd, I was already in Fort Leonard Wood, Missouri, marching. I was in the Army for, I was drafted for 6 years, 2 years active duty, 2 years active reserves, and 2 years standby. And that's how my life began in the Army. Yeah, and then on my last furlough, I met my present wife, or future wife, however you want to say it. And she didn't want nothing to do with me, but here I am.
And then they ended up having 5 kids, and then 5 beautiful grandkids.
7.
Oh yeah, 7.
7 grandkids, yeah.
I was thinking of 5.
Yeah, we're married now 56 years already this past August, so here we are,
Wow.
happy as. And I'm now retired. I work for General Motors for 27 years. I'm already retired 22 years this past September. And I am hoping to be retired longer.
Well, thank you so much, Judge, for sharing your story. It is truly inspiring.
I could tell you more and more, but
we only have 10 minutes.
okay, sorry.